Top 10 royal divorces that cost millions. Starting off with number 10, Diana and Charles. The divorces that have happened among the royals have been one of the Queen's biggest expenses, especially during the year where 3 of her children's marriages came to an end. And this is especially true when it comes to Princess Diana and Prince Charles' split, which was an exceptionally pricey one for the family. Charles didn't even have the money to pay Diana's divorce settlement, so he was forced to borrow that money from his mother. Big yikes. Initially, when Prince Charles divorced from Princess Diana, I don't think Charles had enough money to pay for the divorce settlement, McClure explained, adding that cost came to about £70 million, and by all accounts, he had to borrow some money from the Queen to finance that quite hefty bill. On to number 9, Harry and Meghan stepping down. As we all know, the couple decided to choose their peace over royal responsibilities back in 2020 when they made the controversial move to step down. In the infamous CBS special with Oprah, Prince Harry explained that the lack of support and understanding were his main reasons for leaving the royal family. Harry's frustration with the British press is no stranger to the public, and he confirmed that it was a driving force to remove himself and his family from the situation because he could see where this was headed, and what could be a reference to the struggles of his mother, Princess Diana. Prince Harry also explained his efforts to protect his family from the press. I asked for calm from the British tabloids, once as a boyfriend, once as a husband, and once as a father. Harry then went on to explain how the move was about getting away from the UK press, and because they weren't getting enough support from the firm. Harry also admitted that his father stopped taking his calls because of his decision to move. When asked about his immediate family, Harry said, "My father and brother, they are trapped. They don't get to leave," and later agreed that if he had the support, he'd still be there. Harry's 2 children, who also happen to be mixed race, were a leading factor in moving out of what they claimed to be a toxic environment for their family. As risky and controversial as their announcement to step back from the throne was, Harry did say if it wasn't for the inheritance his mother, late Princess Diana, left him, the decision would not have been as likely. Maybe they would have taken a different approach to how they lived their royal lives. What do you think? Would they still have made the decision as big as moving out if it wasn't for Princess Diana? If Harry was the next in line to the throne, I wonder if his priorities would be different. That would be interesting, right? Watching the next in line of the throne figure out what their next moves would be much more detrimental to the crown than the 5th in line. 8. Money problems. Economies all over the world are struggling, and the UK is no different, even when it comes to the monarchy. Additionally, it appears that job cuts may be imminent in order to compensate for budgetary shortfalls. McClure stated it is going to be difficult due to the fact that there is already talk of job cuts at the palace and beef eaters at the Tower of London being laid off. It is evidently going to eat away at them at the level of public expenditures. Although it might be a smart way to fix the budget, we've already heard a few rumors about the Yorks being phased out and the royal family condensing. On a broader level, the best way to cut costs if the royal family really wanted to cut costs is to have fewer working royals. Harry and Meghan helped out with that. On to number 7, Charles's buyout plan. A royal insider claims King Charles could soon offer Meghan a $50 million divorce settlement as he blames her for Prince Harry's bombshell allegations on the royal family and is willing to do anything to save his son. The shocking news comes following Harry's series of attacks on the royal family in his most recent memoir, Spare, which ultimately tore the monarchy apart. As Harry's memoir causes outrage around the world, Charles is said to be willing to do anything to prevent the Duke of Sussex from throwing his life away. Charles is willing to forgive Harry for the horrifying damage he's inflicted on the royal family in the last 3 years. The monarch is of the opinion that Harry is besotted by Meghan to such an extent that he can't see he's headed for disaster and must leave now. Additionally, he is of the opinion that the sum will appeal to Meghan because she is greedy, and it will set her up for life. Archie and Lilibet, Harry and Meghan's 2 children, are said to be included in the generous buyout, and the former actress would be permitted to keep her Duchess title. The controversial plan comes after the Duke unveiled a series of wild claims in his memoir about the royal family, including how his father once told him he did not have enough money to financially support Meghan. That is rough. Do you think this is something Harry would or should consider? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Number 6, divorce settlements are complicated. Again, we can look at Charles and Diana's divorce to see exactly how finances and property division work in royal divorces. In the case of Diana, she was able to maintain her residence at Kensington Palace and host parties in the state apartments at St. James Palace. In the meantime, the New York Times reported in '96 that Diana received $22.5 million in cash as well as $600K a year earmarked to maintain her private office. When it came to custody, Diana and Charles agreed to split time with their children, William and Harry. Number 5, what titles can you keep? Having your very own royal title is one of the best benefits of marrying into the royal family. Diana adopted the moniker Her Royal Highness Princess of Wales when she married Prince Charles. Sarah Ferguson became known as Her Royal Highness Duchess of York when she married Prince Andrew. These titles signaled to the entire world that these newlyweds were now officially members of the royal family and enjoyed all of the perks and privileges of royalty. However, your right to retain your royal title may be affected if your marriage fails. But if you play your cards right and stay on the Queen's good side, you can get some protection. The Queen was pleased to grant Diana her title when Charles and Diana split up. However, Charles did not like this idea, so a compromise was reached. Diana was no longer entitled to the title Her Royal Highness, but she would continue to be known as Diana Princess of Wales. A similar agreement was reached when Andrew and Fergie split up officially. She no longer carried the title Her Royal Highness, but she is still referred to as Sarah Duchess of York. The problem? If they got married again, their titles would be taken away in both cases. Royal divorces are not all the same. Princess Diana received a substantial settlement following her divorce from King Charles, while History.com notes that Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, King Henry VIII's second and fifth wives, literally lost their heads. Thank goodness, even if you split from the royal family today, you probably won't lose your life. However, how much you get depends on how well you get along with the royal family, and more specifically on the wishes of the Queen, who has the authority to even ban royal titles. The issue with marrying into power is that your spouse is simply allowing you to share it, so it never really becomes yours. If your marriage is happy, secure, and based on trust, this could be an excellent arrangement. All bets are off if not. Additionally, two prominent former royals, Sarah Duchess of York and Princess Diana, had to learn this the hard way. They lost not only their marriages, but also the right to be addressed as Her Royal Highness when they divorced their royal husbands. On to number 4, remarrying. Prince Charles remarried Camilla in 2005 despite initially stating that he had no intention of doing so following his divorce from Princess Diana. Princess Anne, the Queen's daughter, remarried after splitting from her first husband in '92 and wed Timothy Lawrence the same year. Charles and Anne's subsequent marriages were somewhat covert. The Church of England did not allow remarriage at the time, so Princess Anne got married in Scotland, which was later changed in 2002. Meanwhile, despite the fact that it was technically permitted at the time, Prince Charles and Duchess Camilla got married in a civil ceremony because, according to reports, the idea of a future king and head of the Church of England getting married for a second time in a religious ceremony was controversial. Until the palace denied the reports, according to the BBC, saying that Charles and Camilla wanted to keep the occasion low-key and that the Queen is attending the service of dedication and paying for the reception. This is not a snub. On to number 3, the memoir we've all been talking about, Spare. When Harry released his memoir, it would be his experience and stories told for the first time in his own words. The book takes readers through the Duke of Sussex's life with the British royal family, from his mother, Princess Diana, passing away, to how the moment led to his decision decades later to move to America with his wife Meghan and leave Buckingham Palace for good in 2020. With this raw, unflinching honesty, Spare is a landmark publication full of insight, revelation, self-examination, and hard-won wisdom about the eternal power of love over grief. Number 2, the Queen can't forbid a royal divorce. The short answer to the question of whether the Queen can prevent royal couples from divorcing is not anymore. But that doesn't mean the Queen doesn't keep a close eye on the love lives of her family members and how they might affect the royal family's reputation and image. However, in the past, the monarch had veto power over potential mates and absolute authority over who family members could marry. Queen Victoria forbade her daughter, Princess Victoria, to end her arranged marriage to Grand Duke Ernest of Hesse, despite her misery and questions about his sexuality in the 1890s, when divorce was still considered scandalous. The unhappy couple was finally able to divorce after the Queen passed away in 1901. The staggering number of royal family divorces in recent years demonstrates that the Queen is no longer in a position to compel couples to remain together. This includes 3 of Queen Elizabeth's 4 children as well as several other members of the family. However, if necessary, she can apply her royal wand to the scale. While Charles and Diana tried to keep their unhappy marriage together for the sake of appearances, the Queen asked them to just get a divorce because of an increasing number of scandals. Therefore, in today's world, the Queen does not have to discourage divorce. She can also approve of it. And finally, number 1, allowed but not encouraged. Anyone who has watched The Crown knows that the Queen eventually allowed and even encouraged Prince Charles and Princess Diana to break up, but it wasn't ideal for the heir to the throne to do so in public. In the case of Charles and Diana, the decision to separate was so formal that it was made public in December '92 by British Prime Minister John Major. In addition, shortly after Diana's Panorama interview, the Queen herself requested Charles and Diana's divorce amid allegations of infidelity. In conclusion, royals don't love divorce, yet 3 out of 4 of the Queen's kids have gotten divorced, 2 have remarried, and somehow the world keeps turning. That is all for today's top 10. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.